everybody. Welcome to a combination Embracing the Simple Life podcast and Ann Clay, the Primitive Home. And today I am here with my friend Susan from grade school. We have been friends since we were 5 in kindergarten.
Yeah, we are.
Unbelievable. Some friendships do stand the test of time. That's crazy, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So Sue has been on the show before, and you've seen her both on the channel and on our podcast. We've heard her, and she is just so full of great decluttering, simple lifestyle ideas. She's just, to me, the epitome of, she's just so practical about some of the things we all get so emotional about and get all tripped up. And she knows how to bridge that gap between the practicality and the emotionality, because she's got a heart. So we're going to talk today about holidays and holiday preparations and some things about home and decluttering. And I know that you're going to love this as much as I do. So welcome, Sue.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So tell me about your Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah, well, between the two of us, my husband and I have 7 children. So 5 of them are actually coming, 2 of them with their spouses. So we're going to have a full house. And also my mom's coming. So she always provides the comic relief.
Yes.
Yeah. Full house with lots of kids. Well, lots of adult kids. So they're grown-ups now. But they'll be staying overnight, most of them, and it'll be good.
Wow. And you just recently did some renovating to your house, didn't you?
Yes, we did. I painted absolutely everything from the ceilings to the walls, to the trim, to the closets. Everything in the house has been painted.
Wow.
Yeah. And basically all of my clothes have paint on them.
You didn't designate just what outfit, you went for the whole thing, huh?
No, I did designate one outfit, but I look at my coat and I'm like, how did white paint get on that? Or, it gets everywhere. It just really does get everywhere. So
especially if you lean against something. I do that. I lean against things when they're still wet and don't realize it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you redid, so you have a 1960s home, right?
We do, and we have original bathrooms and original kitchen. And so we've updated all of that too. So yeah.
I bet it's beautiful.
It really is nice. It's not like we added any square footage. Our house is 1,300 square feet, but it's all nice now.
Uh-huh.
And I can honestly say, before, my husband had his house, I had my house, but now this is our house, so we kind of did it together. And, like now when I look around, there's some things that are his, some things that are mine, even the artwork, we blended the artwork so that it reflects both of us. So
that's really nice. That's a tricky thing, isn't it? Getting married later in life and blending your lives.
Yes, it is, because he had a full house, as we all know. Last year, we sold that, and we had to empty, literally 40 years worth of memories, house, and or move them here, which we have done in some instances as well. And then so it took 2 years really of work to basically finish that project.
Wow. You must feel really good now about this.
I do. But now I'm kind of saying, well, what's the next step? What do I do to keep myself, because when you're painting a whole house and or selling a house and or staging a house and or emptying a house, you're really, really busy. And my mother threw in her house right in the middle of all of this. She decided she had to sell her house. So I had to empty her house too. So now I'm kind of like, okay, well, what's next?
So you have Blake downstairs in the he has an office down there, right? Right by these really beautiful windows overlooking the woods, huh?
Yes, it's great. He loves his basement. He says he even has an executive bathroom, because there's a full bathroom off of it. There's his library because we have a wall of bookcase where he's able to, put all of his books. And it looks great, but it's definitely, right up his alley. He loves it. And we happen to have wetlands behind us, so the view is really great too. So
Oh man, I bet you have little creatures coming out sometimes and visiting, huh? Like
yeah,
deer.
like deer, yeah, I fought with them all summer long. I finally gave up and stopped using the deer begons so that they just ate everything that was left. But
Well,
we
there's a tip for gardening, right? Just let the deer eat it all.
yeah. But I waited until November before I gave in to them.
Well, that's good because then they could just trim. I mean, maybe we need the deer to come up and just trim out our flowers that we still have to clip down.
My God, but they ate my holly last year. I mean, they ate things during the winter that you would never think that deer would eat, but I guess they were hungry, and
Wow.
yeah, they were eating everything. My
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy.
oh my goodness. So before you were telling me about your husband and he loves books and that he's kind of turned a corner. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because my husband has always loved books, and when I first met him and we were decluttering, there were a lot of bookcases. Um, I'm hesitant to say there was 15 bookcases. So there was a lot, and he's gone through. He's pared down, um, and he's kind of embraced the whole decluttering thing. Because I'm not saying he doesn't have any books. He has a large bookcase, right? Like that's we have a built-in bookcase that's large and it's along one wall. So he does have books, but he also has space there, and he also has them organized. He always had them organized, but he uses the library.
Wow.
He thinks twice before buying books. Once he's read a book, he says, like, do I want to keep this or do I want to, donate this? So he's much more cognizant about what he's doing with, like what he brings in, and you know and keeping things like the way they are. So
And
yeah,
he's enjoying that, right?
he is. There's a lot. I mean, I'm enjoying it too because I wasn't this organized before, but when you're dealing with literally my mom's home, his home, and my home, you know you really have, unless you plan to buy a mansion when you're 60 years old, what are you going to do?
Right.
So you had to, I became much more ruthless, so to speak, with regard to, all right, we have to make some tough decisions, and you know try to separate our emotions from practicality, but not forget the emotions, and how can we still keep those memories without necessarily having the bulk.
How did you do that?
um well, what I would say I did, and I didn't do this consciously at first, but I just jumped in, and it was like, okay, I'm going to start with a and at the time I had been laid off from my job, so I had time, and I was like, I don't want to have all this time go by and have nothing to show for it. And so I started with a drawer. I started with like, then I went to a closet, then I went to another drawer, and then I went to a cabinet, and then and I would just go through things and I'd say, like, do I want this? Do I, like, do I not want this? Why do I have, one thing here and another thing of the same thing over there and a third thing over there? And, you know, I ended up with 7 scissors because, they were all over the place and I never knew where anything was. So by bringing things together and putting like things together, it helped organize. And as I went along, it becomes addictive. And I just, was like, oh, this is pretty good. But then, when I became, remarried and, we had the 2 households, we definitely had to make those kind of decisions. So that sort of made it, move forward much more quickly.
So how did you do it with your mom?
With my mom, I will say my mom had, so in my mom's mind, I think that she had planned to sell the house. My dad had died, a number of years ago, 4 years ago now. And so she had been whittling away at things. So it wasn't as full as it could have been. There were definitely closets that were emptied. She had gotten rid of all of my dad's clothes, and so she had made some of those tough, decisions. And but there still was a lot. There was still a garage. There was still, furniture, and some of the furniture wasn't in style anymore, because it had the large oak wall units. And
Wow.
How do you get rid of them? And in a lot of areas now, including down by her, it's harder to get rid of garbage now. By me, I can just bring everything out to my curb, although I try. But it is, I could literally bring out a couch and they will take it, or they'll take anything, but that's not the case everywhere, and that's not the case by her. So I was marketing some of this furniture, and I did the same thing with Blake's house. When we emptied that house, I would paint things. I would market them, like I would make them look cute. I'd be like, here, it's free, just come and pick it up. And, that enabled me from having to hire somebody like 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Right.
People that picked it up were thrilled. In the case of the wall unit, I advertised it as an organization, which is true, except that I already had enough organizational, I sold it as an organizational unit for like a shed or garage, and the person that picked it up used it for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So was your mother kind of, was she attached to her things, or didn't she care a whole lot?
She really wasn't. She had taken the things that she wanted. So, my mom and dad had made doll houses that are very exquisite, but they're also large. But she took 2 of them to the apartment that she lives in now.
Wow.
Yeah, so she took, and then, she made sure she rehomed all the other doll houses that they had made. So that was the part I think that she was most sentimental about. And then she was pretty practical with regard to what furniture she took, what would fit, etc. So.
Wow. And how long did it take you to do this for her?
I would go, that was a 2-part process. So first was getting her packed up to move to her new apartment. So that was step 1. But then I still had a house that I had to empty, and that I pretty much did by myself. And when we were packing her up to move to her apartment, I would go up weekly for 2 months, and then the other I was going once or twice a week, and sometimes staying overnight and like literally sleeping on the floor of her house, because with Facebook Marketplace, if anybody's familiar with it, you can't necessarily count on people picking things up when they're supposed to.
Right.
So, so, I would I would post it. Somebody was, I had all these people interested. I had, one person that was going to come at a designated time and then they wouldn't show.
Yeah.
So I had to spend, a couple of nights, and I literally was sleeping on the floor at that point, just to get rid of all the remaining, but
Oh
it
my
worked.
goodness.
Yeah.
You're kind of amazing.
But that was a good, I remember we put the house on the market Memorial Day weekend, and it closed July 15th. And I had to beg. I'm like, please, I cannot get this house empty any quicker than July, 15th. You've got to give me a break. And yeah, we closed July 15th already.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So tell me about the upcoming holidays. How are you going to simplify things? What are you doing? I know you're having, all these adult grown children over, and some are sleeping over. And what are you doing to keep the stress down?
For example, with our Thanksgiving, I already called my local meat market, and I ordered my turkey cooked.
Oh,
I ordered gravy, and that I'll just have to heat up. I ordered stuffing. I'll make the vegetables, and people are bringing things, but it's hard for some of them to bring things because they're from out of town as well. So some things just don't transport well. So
right.
it makes sense for me to do it. But yeah, we're definitely so I'm having help from the outside. I'm having help from the attendees themselves, and yeah, we'll just it's family. It's gonna be it's gonna be fine.
So how many people will be showing up? Like, let's say Thanksgiving dinner. Are you going to set a table? Or are you going to say like, here guys, eat on the couch? What are you going to be doing?
We'll set a table. In fact, we have a large table. I have to figure out exactly how many, but I think I can fit 15 people at that. So I think we should all be able to fit.
Wow.
But even if not, I have card tables and things like that. So we can set up some additional.
And so in your dining room, these people haven't seen your dining room, but your dining room goes into your living room. So you can just spread your table all the way across, can't you?
Exactly. And I have these china plates that are, they have white and gold, or no, they have red and gold. So I use the same plates for Thanksgiving as I use for Christmas, and I use them every day as well. I'm like, I'm not going to have plates that I never use. If I have them, I use them. And that's my philosophy with everything. So my plates are.
So you have one set of plates, the red and the green, gold?
I have red and gold plates that I use all year round.
Okay.
But they're china, and they're nice and they're pretty and they look festive. And like I'll put a red tablecloth down, but it's a plain tablecloth. I have it now, so I use it. I don't only use it during Christmas. I use it during multiple times. In fact, I went to the store today and I saw some Christmas plates. I'm like, oh, those are so pretty. And I'm like, yeah, but then I can only use them for one, like I'm not buying that. If I can only use it once or twice, I'm not using it. So
you are the picture of willpower.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've bought stuff like that already. And then I ended up with, table setting for, 4. And I end up giving it all away anyway then. So.
Right. So you have 15 plates of the red and gold?
I do.
Wow. Was that a family heirloom, or did you get that for your wedding, or did you just buy it one day somewhere?
I just bought it. They're Mikasa plates, and I think they're pretty. They look a little bit festive, but again, we use them for every day. They go in the dishwasher. They will not go in the microwave.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, they work. And I've had them for years.
Wow. What made you buy so many in one time?
Well, I think when I bought them, because I was buying China, and I think you either had a choice of 8, so I think that it was a set. It wasn't
Oh,
place setting. You know how they also sell that?
yeah.
Um, and it's kind of funny, but the adult children today, like, they don't want the China stuff that we used to get. In fact, I go to this consignment shop, and I mean, they had the Lennox, which cost a fortune back in the day. I want to say it cost like $100 a place setting back in the day. And I
Wow.
sold it for $200 for a complete set, and it's not moving. And I'm
Wow.
thinking, yeah, yeah, it's they don't want it anymore,
Yeah.
so I think the younger generation has sort of embraced that minimalist
Yeah.
um, attitude with a lot of things. And when you offer them different things, they have no interest.
It's true. They want the experiences and they don't want to be bogged down with stuff, you know. I know that my daughter is living in an 800 square foot apartment with her husband. So how on earth, there's no place for anything, they've got a couch to sit on and a TV with a PlayStation and their computers. Well, even just my husband's computer on a desk, she has it on her lap. And
Right,
then your clothing, right? And a few things in your kitchen, and that's about all you can fit.
right,
Yeah.
right. And that's not, they just don't see the value. They see it as like I think the word you used was, like, you know, they don't want to be encumbered by this.
Yeah,
So
they don't, which
they
then
see
makes it hard to get rid of at the end of when we don't want it anymore. Yeah. Right.
I buy it for me, and I'm buying it to use, and I'm enjoying it. And so that's the kind of stuff that I have. I have stuff that my philosophy, even after this podcast, I'm going to an art restorer, and we have a painting that came from Blake's family, and it has a rip in it. And so
Oh,
I told Blake, I'm like, we're either going to get it fixed or we're going to throw it out. So we're getting it fixed, which is fine.
uh-huh.
Um, but my philosophy with everything is I'm either going to use it or we're getting rid of it, and, I will look at things like, you know, you look at things like a broken chair, and, so it's off in the corner. I'm like, we're either going to fix it or we're getting rid of it, because it's not going to fix itself. And it takes space. And and those are the kinds of things that can easily overwhelm.
Yeah.
Um, because life, things are always going to happen. So either we deal with it or it builds up. And yeah.
That's really true. I know that I don't think about that all the time, that we deal with it or it builds up. I kind of feel like those chairs in the corner will fix themselves. And, if I ignore it, it'll go away, or, and the truth is we have to work on everything to keep up with things, even with, just regular cleaning. My husband will take off a shirt and throw it on a chair, right? And then it just sits there. And and he won't notice because he just took it off and threw it on the chair and didn't even think about it again. But I'll notice because I will have spent like the whole day getting the room clean and getting ready to photograph, and then I come in and I'm ready to photograph, and then bam, there's stuff, there's shoes, or there's things that people have just kind of dropped because they haven't thought about it. And yeah, and there it is, and it doesn't move itself.
Right. And it builds up.
It does.
And if you deal with it when and I mean, this is true with all of see, that's the thing, like whether it's clutter or, our lives in general, if we don't deal with the issues when they're small, they become bigger over time. And then how did this happen? And they happened little by little.
I know, 2 pounds turns into 50 very quickly.
Yeah, you just say, oh, I'll be okay. I'm sure this is temporary. And yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Ugh, that's such a good philosophy. This is why I keep you around now. I'm kidding. I keep you around because I love you. But you always have such wisdom. I love it. I love it when you come on the show and share with people because it's so interesting. So tell me, how do you make the table special then? If you're using that every day as your everyday stuff, tell me how you make your table special.
Well, I will put a little, so I do have some things that are up in the attic that are seasonal.
Okay.
So I will bring those down, and I'll have, maybe a bowl of something, and right now it's gourds and, little pumpkin things. But again, I don't even buy gourds. I mean, I have the ones that, I literally pack them away. I have some glass ones that are, I bought, it was a charity thing. And so I bought those, and I've literally used them for 10 years plus now. And I have, I have different things like that. So I will put some things in the middle. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, I find all of that has to go anyway. I don't have room for anything but the food. So and I did buy a turkey plate, so this was one of the things, part of the renovation that we did recently. I actually do have more space for things now. And so, because we put in additional cabinets, so I put my, whereas before I didn't have room for, even my toaster or, and it was all on the counter. Now I'm able to put it into different drawers. So all of that is tucked away, which is so nice. And I've never had that. But having that also, I bought a, which is something that I bought a plate, a big plate for the turkey, which I never would before. I think I borrowed my sister's every year, and I would tell her to, bring a plate or, bring the gravy boat, because I don't have one of those either. I saw it and it was $5, and again, from decluttering, it's not the cost, it's the what do you do with this afterwards, because you have this plate. And yeah, it's going to have limited value because it has leaves, it has leaves imprinted on it. It's very pretty. It's off white and it's just pretty. So I did buy it, but I don't buy too many of those kind of things.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. You did it is, what do you do with that stuff? Now, my mom gave me a the silver that she used to put the turkey on. I think she got it from her grandmother. So I've got this turkey platter now. It's all silver. I have to figure out how to clean it. It's all silver and pretty. And then then there's a stuffing thing, that you put stuffing in. But with my family, that stuffing will be gone, before I can't even fill that with the stuffing, because my family, they'll come through and it'll be empty, and I'll just keep refilling it. So I don't know.
Yeah. There was some silver that Blake had, and I just said to him, I looked at him, I go, I'm not cleaning that. Yeah.
I think I remember my mother cleaning this every year. She'd have this little container and it would be like pink or something. And then she'd scrub it on there and you'd watch that pink turn into gray. And then she'd wash it off and dry it and use it. And then it tarnishes again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Well, best wishes for you there. Have fun with that.
Well, we're having a weird Thanksgiving this year anyway, because we're not going to have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. Because my brother-in-law has decided now he's going to have Thanksgiving too. And, but we don't want to go there for Thanksgiving because that would be too sad. I can't go to my sister's house and not have her be there on a holiday. I can't do it. So they always had all the parties and all the, and after she passed, I couldn't do it. I can't do it. So, but then we wanted to still have the whole family together. So we're going to have like a little mini Thanksgiving at my house on Thanksgiving, and not even like Kristen can't even make it. And then on the Sunday, we're going to have like a Thanksgiving dinner. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, like with grown children, and some of them married, and different families.
Yeah.
We're getting to a point now even where we have a few that aren't able to make it, and I completely understand, because I don't want them running back and forth, and I don't, it's supposed to be a holiday for everybody.
Right.
But one of the things that I'm kind of toying with, and I just don't even know how to resolve it, is why does it have to be on Thanksgiving or on Christmas? Could we do it a different day, and just celebrate? That would work for everyone. And
Right.
Everyone's so busy, I'm not sure any day would really work for everyone. So
that's the other thing. I have nieces and nephews in retail, or anyone in retail after Thanksgiving, they're just going to be busy. So yeah, it's tricky. It is really tricky. Yeah. So do you have, I like the tip of having someone else cook your meat. I think that's as you were describing it, I was thinking that would be so wonderful, just to not even worry about that.
Thing is that so I have an oven, but if my oven is taken up by the turkey, what else could I cook in there?
Right.
So it's not like I can put roll, you can't cook anything else when that turkey's there. So
yeah,
it frees up a lot of, because I'm a person that likes to think, okay, how logistically am I going to do this? And I'm thinking, I don't know. So that solved a lot of those logistical issues.
I have 2 ovens. And I only keep it for holidays. and now I'm feeling like, wow, if I just catered that out, I wouldn't have to have 2 ovens. And I wouldn't have to clean 2 ovens. And I wouldn't have to, because people are always using different burners. And so then I have to clean them all, so I'm not just cleaning one out of it. I'm cleaning 2, and suddenly it's starting to sound a little excessive when I could have done this an easier way.
Right. I will tell you, I actually did order a stove with a double oven, and when it came time to deliver it, they told me that it was back ordered for a year and a half. And at that point, I had already thrown out my other stove, because they told me no problem, that will be, So I had no stove, and so literally I took whatever they had left. I don't even know I couldn't even tell you what brand I have.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah,
Wow.
it works, and I'm really happy with it. But I had originally ordered a stove with a double oven, and was told it was a year and a half.
Every time I laugh, I cough. Sorry. That's incredible. Oh man. Oh, okay. So give me some really good tips for Christmas. Do you have any for Christmas presents and gift giving and that kind of thing?
Well, one of the things that Blake and I do is we ask our children for donations to charities that mean a lot to them, and hopefully us too. But so that was something that we started last year, and it was really nice, because last year they gave us gift certificates to charities that fight for justice, or food banks, or leukemia leukemia society, which is an illness that has impacted the family. So it was really meaningful and it was nice. And so we asked for, the same thing this year. So it'll be interesting to see, how and what they come up with, or maybe they'll come up with the same, which is great because we really liked it. But that's one thing which, really helps people that can use it. And I don't know about you, but I'm to a certain age. I really, today our coffee maker went and I ran down to Kohl's and I bought another one.
Right,
So,
right,
if I really need something, I will get it.
right, right.
So that is one thing. With our children, what we've started to do is we've asked them if they want money or if they want presents. And if they want presents, we want guidance,
Uh-huh.
because we don't want to give them stuff that they don't want.
Right.
And we set up a budget for each one.
Wow.
So that helps. Quite a few of our children have asked for money in the past, which is great. That's where they're at with in their lives. And some of them have specific things that, they want that, at least we know that they're going to be helpful. And, so those are some of the things that we've done. With regard to our parents, we're kind of, our parents are, in their 80s now. So, it's how much do you want to get, how much do you want to give them? Do you want to give them something that's meaningful? And so, these were a couple of the ideas. So, Blake's mom, she really likes oysters. Last year we gave her oysters, but she had to open them. And so she had a neighbor that had to help her. So this year we actually looked, there's a restaurant that serves them and they deliver. So we were thinking maybe we would just do that, and have them delivered on a normal, basis. She also likes flowers. And so I was looking into whether or not we could do, some, send her flowers, like on a monthly basis during the real cold, and especially, like the bulb type things where, she could grow them and watch them and they would last for a while. So those were the kinds of things that we were thinking there, but things that ultimately she could plant outside,
Oh, those are great ideas. Yeah. I remember one year my mom and dad gave, what was it, goats to all of my kids. Like they bought a goat for some tribe somewhere, and that would give them milk. And so each kid got a goat delineated to them. And I think for the most part, it went well. My kids were kids back then, right? So they were kind of like waiting for their present and then they got to go. But they didn't get to see the goat. It was just a goat for someone out there who didn't have, milk. But I love that idea. I love all of those ideas. And, and it really keeps down the clutter and the landfill and,
and
I
it
mean,
makes it simpler even, so rather than, and there is a lot to be said for going out and finding the perfect gift and wrapping the perfect gift. And, but on the other hand, I like to balance it with, what do people really want? And, that type of thing. We'll still give our children, small things. Even when we do that, we give them small things so that they have something to unwrap and, things like that. But
right. I remember the last present that my sister gave me was the Christmas before she passed, she had given me those. I'm looking at them right now. They're the Moscow Mule mugs. When we moved in, she had given me 4 of them, for our tavern here, and they just were so cool. And then she was shopping and she's found a big one, like this huge one at, I don't know, Home Goods or TJ Maxx or something. And she thought it was so funny. So she picked that up and gave it to me at Christmas. Just, we weren't giving gifts either, but it was just one of those, you have to have this. This is hysterical. And, I'm that gift. I remember she's like, I know we don't give gifts, but you have to have this. And that gift means so much to me, that silly big I've got it sitting on my bar, and it's like my memory of her, and that. So sometimes gifts are really nice too.
Yes, absolutely. So you do have to, but we don't give the number of gifts that we might have in the past.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, or we give experiences. So next year we plan to go to Scotland as a family. Yeah. Yes, that'll be exciting. And we also plan to go to Cooperstown as a family in May. So we'll do those kinds of things, having the experiences, and especially when everybody's all, spread out in multiple states, it's nice to be able to, get together and just spend time together and do different things. So that'll
That
be
is
nice.
fun. That is
Yeah.
so fun. Oh
Yeah.
man. I love these ideas. They're so good. They're so good. See, you always surprise me. I'm always thinking, what's she doing now?
Sometimes I wonder that too.
Yeah, but you stay busy. Like, you haven't had a quote job for quite a few years now, and you stay really busy and productive, and you keep giving, and it's amazing. I just love your ideas.
Thank you. But I've actually been, sort of wondering, now that I don't have, my mother's house to sell, my mother's house to empty, Blake's house to sell, Blake's house to empty, this house to paint the entire thing, construction work going on, what do I do with myself? So that'll be interesting because, that'll be the next phase. But we've started volunteering more.
Okay.
Now that, I still wear a mask. I still, but we've started to volunteer more, and so that's nice too, because there's a lot of people that can use a lot of help out there. So
Yeah. I think if you hired yourself out, you'd have a lot of people that would want you to help them declutter too.
I often have wondered about that. And there is something to be said for having somebody who doesn't have the emotional ties to things.
Yeah.
Because I recognize that, for, other people, these things may have a lot of emotional attachment to them. Like you describing that big mug, that has a lot of emotional attachment to you. I would look at it and say, oh, it's a mug,
Right.
but that's, you need to do it in conjunction with each other, to say what's important and absolutely keep that.
Yeah.
And what's not, or what was emotional at one time. Right now, I'm actually scanning a box of photos that we took from Blake's house, of their family memories for the last 30 years. So
Wow.
so that will enable them to be able to access the photos more, because when they're in books or when they're in boxes, you don't see them and they just fade over time. So by scanning them, it'll preserve them. We'll put them on a cloud somewhere, and everybody will be able to access them and use them and enjoy them.
Isn't that like so cool when you think about how society has changed? I have these photographs of my great great grandparents or great 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 grandparents. And of course they fade, but then we go and we take pictures of them and scan them in and then they could go to everybody all over and have a whole new life.
Right. Yeah. And even identifying, because you look at some of these pictures and you say, who is that? So by identifying them now, future generations will be able to know, because otherwise they're not going to know who those people are.
Right.
Yeah. So you can actually preserve your history more by doing that too. So.
I have a trunk full of photographs. A lot of them are of the kids when they were young. I think we've talked about this, where half of it's blurry or there's a hand or, it's usually a camera strap going right in front of the picture, and then you get your doubles. And I've got them all in a trunk and I still haven't gone through. Actually, I have 2 trunks full and I still haven't gone through them. Yeah, I don't really know what to do about them because I don't want to take the time to scan them all in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do with them.
Well, I will tell you, I did look at what it would cost just to mail the box to, a service, but it said it was 59 or 69 cents a photo. And I'm thinking, I probably have thousands of photos here. So I said, I think I could do this. And so I'm doing it myself, but yeah, those are the options. The other
Yeah.
option is to not do anything, and this took me a year. So I had to finish my mother's house. I had to, sell Blake's house. I had to, like finish painting. And then once all that was done, I finally got to this project. So, when you have other projects going on and other things going on, it's not the best time. But I, like everything else, just jumping in and starting. And Liz, Blake's daughter, helped me out a lot because she actually took out all the duplicates as well as she organized things. So that helped out a lot. So, maybe you can recruit some help.
Maybe I could. That'll be fun. Between my one daughter that works 3 jobs and my other daughter is getting her PhD.
Well, maybe even your mom, because I will say, because in doing this, I feel as if I know Blake and his family even better because
Wow.
I've literally gone through all their pictures, and you see these pictures and you say, oh, like, I wonder what they were doing there, or I wonder what they were thinking, and, oh, that's interesting that these people that I did not necessarily associate together are
Yeah.
in this photo together. And, you start to ask questions, so I mean, it's just interesting. I find it.
Wow. My mother has been doing that with her photos. And it's the interesting thing about being 83, sorry, Mom, that you don't remember that you looked at that photo 3 years ago and talked about it. And now you're like, I've never seen this photo before. And then it's like a new discovery. But I've had to go and help her kind of decide what to do with some of the photos because to her it's like every single photo or every single piece of paper means something
Right.
historically and has a memory, and we've kind of unpacked, well, who's this memory going to be important to? So she's a very organized person, so she was secretary for a lot of organizations, right? So she was secretary for ecomp when they started a school, and then she had a whole box full of minutes from the school for years, and she's like, well, what do I do with these? Or pictures that my father took of the school, and so to disseminate them to the appropriate places that would appreciate them has been kind of an interesting feat. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's true with everything, whether it's memories for different people, you know, or, even things that, my son took, trombone lessons when he was, in 5th and 6th grade. And that was the end of that. But we still had the trombone in our house. And, I'm sitting there saying, what am I going to do with this thing? I don't want a trombone. And you feel bad. I paid $600 for it way back when.
Right.
And so I called the school and I said, do you have, would you be interested in this thing at all? And I tell you, they were so excited. I was like, I will bring this right now. And I brought it down. They were waiting for me at the door. They were holding the door. Oh, thank you so much. This means so much. Now we can have a trombone in our band and da, 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 da. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm so glad I did not throw that away, because that was my other thing.
No, you can't throw instruments away. Never throw an instrument away.
Well, and my son Matt, he was using it as a decoration, like the trombone. And I'm thinking, I don't want a trombone as a decoration in my home. So, because he didn't have it as a decoration in his home. He had it as a decoration in my home. So, yeah, finding the people that it means something to and would mean something to, whether it's pictures or whether it's instruments or whether it's, clothes or pictures, like that you hang, artwork on the wall. Even that big wall unit, it was a solid oak piece. It probably weighed 200 pounds. And I advertised it, I think I mentioned, as, a way to organize the garage. Well,
Yeah.
the person that ended up picking it up was so excited. And he was like, I'm organizing my shed now. He goes, this is perfect. I'm like, great. So for it's just finding, but it does take time. So that's the other reason why you shouldn't wait until it just becomes overwhelming. You have to keep up with it, because it does, each item takes time. I'm going to be going into New York City in a little bit to bring out this art piece that got ripped. It takes time to go in, come back out, go back out to pick it up once it's finished, so it's time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And it doesn't take much time to take it into your house. It's so quick. It's a spontaneous, oh, there it is on the shelf. You pick it up and the next thing you know, it's in your bag.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think twice before bringing anything into the home anymore, just because I know everything I bring in at some point has to go back out, whether it's me doing it, whether it's our children who end up having to do this for us at some point. And that was one of the things too. My ex-husband had died, and my two children, who were 23 and 25 at the time, so they were very young, really. And they had to empty out his house and deal with all of the emotions and and I just didn't want them to have to deal with all of it, and I wanted to be able to deal with as much as I possibly could,
Right.
so that it would be easier, because ultimately we are all going to die. So
yeah, ultimately
yeah,
that's true.
it is true.
I know.
If I just wanted to make, and there's some things that do mean a lot to me, and so I don't necessarily want somebody who it might not mean a lot to make the decision either.
Yeah.
So by doing that, I'm making the decision as to where I would want things to go.
And what they do with it is it's not going to matter to you in the end, but yeah.
Right.
My grandmother used to, when she was getting older and we'd go visit her and we were little yet, she would actually start giving us items. I remember she gave me this little vasey thing, and she gave me a bracelet that she had as a child. And, she'd hand those things to us, or a little, teacup or something. Just, every time we came, she'd give us something. And that way she was disseminating it and it was going out there. And it was really smart. Pardon?
I said, and she was giving it to people she wanted to get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow.
My grandmother used to write people's names on the bottom of everything.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My other grandma did that too. This is who I want to get this. In fact, I have this little item that there's a little slip in for my brother. My brother was supposed to get it. And every time he visits me, he's like, oh. So it's still in my house. He doesn't care about it, but she thought he should have it. And so I feel like I can't put it out and enjoy it because it's his, but he never takes it. He doesn't want it, but so yeah. Or my grandmother, she gave me her sewing machine. And I used to say to her, Grandma, I don't sew. And she's like, I want you to have my sewing machine. And all I would sew is like the inner seams of my jeans, when they'd wear out and split. But I learned to sew because I felt like I had to honor her. And so for years, I was sewing dorky clothing for me and my kids that all matched. And
I still remember going to the material store and getting, the patterns and the material. And I did not personally sew though, ever. My sister had a sewing machine. She doesn't make clothes, but she'll sew things like if you need a hem or curtains or things like that. She'll do those types of things. And I often look and I'm like, well, that would be just so much easier, but forget it.
In the end, sewing clothing was so complicated, because you had to do the pattern and then in the end, it would be more than the clothes. I mean, soon clothes became so inexpensive and so throwaway, and you thought, I can make this dress that's not going to turn out well because I sewed it myself for $30, or I could go buy this really cute, dress at Old Navy for 10, so which is going to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Sue, this was so much fun. I love doing this with you.
Look, our time went fast.
Yes, it did. It went really fast. So, Sue, have a happy Thanksgiving with your family, and I hope the turkey tastes good.
Me too. But I don't like turkey, so I'm like, oh well.
Oh, that makes it even easier. You don't like turkey. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Bye.